Hello, welcome to lesson 39 of Learn Biblical Hebrew. This is the second of 3 lessons dealing with the magnificent words of the ancient Hebrew prophet Isaiah as we read them in chapter 2 of his prophetical book. So a previous lesson did Isaiah chapter 2 verses 1 and 2, so now we're going to do verse 3, and I've broken it into 3 parts. Here's the first part. I've called it 2-3a. وَهَلْخُ غَمِيمَ رَبِيمْ وَأَمْرُ لَخُ وَنَغْلَ الْهَارْ يَهْوَهِ الْبَيْتْ إِلَهِ يَعْقُوب. So وَهَلْخُ, let's look at our word by word translation. And they will go. So the u is the common ending for third person plural, and halach means go. In some places it means come. It doesn't quite correspond exactly to either English come or go. So it depends on the context which way we will translate it. But he will translate it, they will go, and they will go. Ramim means peoples. So Ram is often the word in the Bible for the people of Israel. We saw in verse 2 in the previous lesson, Goyim, which is the usual word for non-Israelite peoples or Gentiles. And Ram, by contrast, usually means the people of Israel, but here it's used in the plural, and it's just used as a synonym having the same meaning as Goyim, which is another thing that the Bible writers like to do. They like to vary the words that they use just as part of the style, not changing the meaning. That's exactly what's happening here. The meaning is still the same. They will go peoples, many, Arabim, many. So this is a typical Hebrew word order: verb, subject, noun, and then adjective describing the noun. And many peoples will go, and they will say, here again is the ending, they will say, Lachu, come. So this is the imperative, a command, and this is actually the same root as this one. There's the full root, halach. In this case we've dropped off the h at the beginning, and we've added the u at the end to make it a command. And notice how here we translated it as go, and here we're going to translate it as come. You might be familiar with the old song, "Come and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord." Sounds a bit strange to say "come and let us go," but that's the way the song had it. We're narele. So ral, we've seen this word before. It means up, and here it's made into a verb with the h on the end of it, and the n at the beginning makes it into first person plural, us. So it's in English we would say let us go, or we must go, we should go. And commonly in English we say let's go up. Okay, ral means going up. El har, to house of Yahweh. Oh, I've got in a bit of a tangle, haven't I, here with all these different layers, but here we go. To house of God, of Jacob. And here is this bit, to mountain of Yahweh. Just an interesting comment on this rala. The word is used in modern Hebrew to describe immigration to Israel. Still used in modern Hebrew. but it's common in the Bible. You always go up to Jerusalem because it was on a mountain in a high place in Judea, and also the symbolic meaning of going up suited the fact that they were going up to the temple of God, because here Beit really means temple. So let's look at our full translation. Many peoples will come and say, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord. Let's go up to the mountain of the Lord. Here I've translated Yahweh as a lot of modern English versions do, with Lord in capital letters. And to the temple of the God of Jacob. Again, notice how this name changes a lot. It looks very different in English to what it did in Hebrew. The guttural sound is lost, and this sound, I think, originally in Hebrew was said a little bit further back. It's like a K sound, but said a little bit further back in the mouth, if you can make that sound. But it isn't differentiated in modern Hebrew. So that's first part of the verse. We'll look now at the second part, which I've done on a separate sheet here. V'yorenu midvarchau v'nelcha be'orchothau. And he will teach us. The new ending gives an object, us, and this verb here means teach. He will teach us from derech. Derech is road or path or way, and this indicates plural, and the bit on the end here tells us that it's his. He will teach us from his ways. So perhaps he's saying from, well, it certainly he's not going to teach us everything at once. So we'll start with some of them, some from his ways. We're nalecha, and we will go. Here's this word again, halach, which we've already met a couple of times in this short extract, Isaiah 2, starting from verse 1. So the ne at the beginning means us. We will go. The orchothau, in his paths. So here's a typical parallelism in Hebrew, where two different words are used without any difference intended in the meaning. Derech and orchoth, two different words for the same thing. So in translation we'll probably use different words, just again for good English style. The version that I took here, he will teach us what he wants us to do, and we will walk in the paths he has chosen. So the translator has added that bit to round it out and make good sense of it in English. So there's the second part of the verse, and the last part. Ki mitzion tetza Torah v'devar Yahweh mirushalayim. For, ki is for, mitzion, from Zion. So this word here is Zion, Zion, tetza, it goes out. So this word means to go out. And again, this could be translated as goes out or will go, because It's not really a tense in ancient Hebrew, but it's what's called an aspect, and it's an incomplete aspect, so it could mean present and it could mean future. So we could translate it either way. And Torah is law. And you notice interesting that Torah is related to this word here that we had in verse 2, Yorenu. All that's left is the R. The other letters have changed. This one changed into that, and this had this ending, and this one has this ending. But these two words actually come from the same root. So the Torah, which is a famous, well-known word still used by the Jews today, Torah, it comes from this Hebrew word meaning to teach. So the Torah is God's teaching about how we should live. So law, or we could translate it Torah. The Jews still use that word when they're speaking in English. Devar Yahweh, and word of Yahweh, Mirushalayim, from Jerusalem. The Lord's teaching comes from Jerusalem, from Zion. He speaks to his people. Yes, so Jerusalem and Zion, really again two names for the same thing. And the word of the Lord and the Torah, again, all different aspects, but basically talking about the same thing. And we notice again to the ABBA structure, A, B, B, A. From Zion, the law, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. So this ABBA structure, which is BBA, which is very common in the Bible, and technically it's called chiasmus. Not so common in English, so usually the translators will straighten it out into a normal English word order. So here we have it. The Lord's teaching comes from Jerusalem and from Zion. He speaks to his people.